Things get chippy at practice. CJ Stroud continuing to do what CJ Stroud has been doing, and DeMeco Ryans seems to enjoy it all. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop. Won't stop. Yeah.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for digital Texans content on YouTube. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Two top sources for Texans entertainment and information. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, right along. We had an active practice today in front of fans, and we're going to have even more active practices this week as the Texans will have joint practices against the Miami Dolphins. I want to start with just a little update on what went down today at practice. CJ Stroud remained with the ones. There was no there were no first team reps for Davis Mills. CJ Stroud is still the starting quarterback. And you had a chippy third team period, which started with Steven Nelson. That was actually in team period 2 or 1. Steven Nelson kind of laying the wood on Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce on like a sweep to the left. Steven Nelson hit him. And he kind of knocked him to the turf. Seemed like Dameon Pierce actually kind of liked it. And from there, practice got very physical. You had Jimmy Ward laying out Tank Dell. When Tank Dell went across the middle, you had Jimmy Ward forced the fumble on Noah Brown. Jimmy Ward had another hit. You had Christian Harris on the sidelines. He got into it kind of with Devin Singletary, little extra shove at the end, little toss of the ball. And your head coach, DeMeco Ryans, was asked about it. And DeMeco Ryans seems to like this type of stuff. Some coaches are against these type of chippy activities. But here was DeMeco Ryans after practice talking about what went down.
To see scuffling in training camp, I would say finally we actually see, some guys, that's what training camp is about. Sometimes you're going to get tired of hitting the same guy over and over again, right? It's the linebackers and running backs, they're going to thud up a lot in practice. And, of course, we want to be safe. We want to make sure we keep guys up. But also it's going to get a little edgy. It's going to get a little chippy, and that's how I want to play. Offensively, defense, I want to play with the edge. I want to play with the chip on our shoulder, but also we still have to play within the rules. So it's part of camp. You see it. It's not the worst thing that happened because, it just shows guys, they truly care about what they're doing. They want to be really good at it. It's just two really good competitors going at each other, which I don't have a problem with.
Would you anticipate that edge being more on display when Miami schools get the practices?
I just want our guys to play clean football. Right? Everybody do what they're supposed to do. With Miami coming in, we don't, for us and how I see the game, you don't turn it up. There is no such thing as turning it up. We're always on 100. We're always ready to compete. We're always ready to attack whatever is in front of us. So no matter who comes in, no matter what week we're playing, we shouldn't see a ratchet up because we're always at the level which we should play at.
Talking about Jimmy Ward now.
Yeah, what have I seen from Jimmy? I've seen a guy who looks, comfortable in what we're asking him to do, and you see a guy who is playing the way I've seen him play for several years now. He's playing with his hair on fire. He's all over the field. He's controlling the back end, and with the tandem of him and Petrie, it's just awesome to watch. Both guys play similar styles, flying around, not under control, but still making play. A lot of plays on the ball being made. We look at it today, I think Jimmy and Petrie probably made half of the plays on the defensive side of the ball. So it's fun. It's encouraging to see when, your veteran guys you're going to count on, making plays the way Jimmy has made. It's been fun. Now he just got to finish those interceptions.
Take a few more.
All right, now we get a Tavier Thomas question. Not quite sure why. But that was DeMeco Ryans. He likes it. He likes the chippiness. He likes the physicality. He likes to see it. And quite frankly, it's fun to watch. We talk about what guys can be, and we've talked about CJ Stroud. We've talked about Tank Dell. This defense just has a lot of talent on it. And, when you hear people talk about last season, especially, because it is such a year-to-year league, you hear people talk about the, last season, and the Texans had a historically bad run defense, and the Texans defense did this. Well, first of all, you don't have the same scheme. You don't have the same coach. Second of all, if we just go through and let's just do this for fun here. And I appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, right along. It is a locker room, little practice report for you. As the Texans will host the Miami Dolphins on Saturday and practice with them this week. We'll hear from Bobby Slowik. We'll hear from Blake Cashman, excuse me. I always call him the Yankees GM. God, he's not that much of a weasel. I actually like Blake Cashman. But let's just go through like the actual players. So Will Anderson's going to start. That's a new starter. Sheldon Rankins is going to start. That's a new starter. You have Collins and Hughes. Those guys were here last year. Christian Harris missed some time, so I guess you can say he's a returning starter. Then you have Blake Cashman. That's going to be a new starter. Denzel Perriman, that's a new starter. Stingley in year 2. Petrie, that's a returning starter. And then you have Jimmy Ward and Steven Nelson. So half your guys are new starters, including guys that you expect big things from. So whenever I know the Brian Cashman thing's funny. But whenever you hear people talk about last year and stuff, it's just not really the same type of situation. I think this defense could actually be pretty good. The one thing that interests me a lot about this defense, and I think I'm going to put a video out about Will Anderson. There's something really, I guess the word is interesting, that's happening with Will Anderson. And I think it says a number of things. I'll put that video out on Tuesday. I don't want to bury that lead, but on Tuesday, there's something interesting about Will Anderson. I'm going to make a note of this that I think deserves our attention. And it's just kind of something that I've noticed naturally just from being out there, my mindset, how I take in info, and how I discuss it with y'all. The linebackers are way more athletic. And Briscoe just brought this up. Appreciate you for coming through. Kirksey, I don't know how Kirksey fits into what they're doing right now. And I don't want to disrespect Christian Kirksey. I don't think he can play anymore on a good defense. And furthermore, I don't think that $4.5 million is appropriate market value for a player of Christian Kirksey's caliber at this point. So I think saving the money would make more sense. I don't even know if he's better than the guys that are starting with the second string at this point with Kirksey. I do, though, think that Christian Kirksey deserves some credit for just being there the last 2 years, being a leader, being one of the go-to guys in the locker room, and really just leaving it all on the field and trying his best. I know that sounds like an attaboy, but that's what the last 2 years have been. The thing about it is, though, if Christian Kirksey is like, if we're going to sit here and praise his leadership and stuff, I don't think it's as necessary on this team, because we just listed all the guys. Jimmy Ward's a leader. Jalen Petrie's coming into his own. He's becoming a leader. Christian Harris probably wants to be a leader. Malik Collins seems to be kind of taking on a little bit more leadership. Jerry Hughes is a leader. And you know what these guys have that Christian Kirksey just quite frankly doesn't have right now? They can play. They can play. And cap space rolls over. It's not, you use it or you lose it. Cap space can roll over. You also have Toho out there. And there's guys on the waiver wire that you can bring in for cheaper that can do what Kirko is doing or has done. So there's some appreciation, I'm sure, from Nick Caserio that, you had a guy who was able to be kind of a leader and be one of the voices when you were taking it on the chin and getting through the mud. But at this point, it was going to be an uphill battle for Kirko to begin with. And now you're getting a look at what these guys and what the linebackers look like without him. It's just light years better. So I would just, I don't think that Kirko really has much value here. And I actually think Blake Cashman has really elevated his play as well. Dude's got some swag too, man. I mean, the dude's out there. He's always got the one sleeve. He's got the red towel. He's got the tats. I think he leads the team in interceptions in training camp. A lot of pass breakups, running side to side. Got the 2 earrings in, and he got his podium visit today. This is Blake Cashman talking about how do you develop this chip. We heard DeMeco Ryans talk about, chips on shoulders and all that. How do you develop that? Here's that Cash-ish talking about that.
How does an edge kind of form around a defense that are the number of teams?
That energy, it becomes contagious. And, I think today the defense was feeding off that, and you can just see the intensity, guys flying around, maybe hitting a little bit harder, and that's what you want in a defense. We want to be very tenacious and a ball-hawking defense because that's what's going to win us games. So it's great that the guys brought a little juice today because it's going to make us a better football team.
How much of the way you all play on the field is from Coach Kiffin and what
Little Kiffin question. We can skip that. Someone says, finally a white boy with swag on the Texans. He does have that. He definitely does have that. JJ just seems like a long time ago, right? But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to question whether JJ had swag, although it was kind of like a little bit hokey to some. Yeah, Black 8. I don't know if did JJ have swag or was JJ kind of like the hokey, like all-American type? JJ wasn't rocking like 2 earrings with the sleeve and all that. I'll let y'all debate whether or not JJ had swag. JJ's the GOAT, but swag, I don't know. I don't know how many wins, man. I'm going to wait till closer to the season to predict wins. I was in the 7 to 9 range. Man, I'm trying not to get lost in any sauce or anything like that, so I'll say 7 to 9. JJ shops at the Gap. Wow, got jokes. Briscoe says JJ did not have swag. Joe Blue says David Anderson had swag. Okay, I know David a little bit. I don't know about all that, but yeah, practice was chippy. It was fun. CJ Stroud had the ones. Richard Oliveris says he was there today. Why do people believe Mills should start? This stuff is laughable at this point. See, I don't know who the people are. I know there's some people online that just seem to kind of want to troll a little bit, and they have their like little weird ass clicks where they like retweet each other the whole time and seem to like almost search Davis Mills' name. I don't think anyone truly thinks that Davis Mills is going to start, and anyone who's at practice, and I'm not you got to be at practice type of guy to have like a valid opinion, but he's not getting any of the first team reps. So if you think he should, that's okay. But if someone thinks that Davis Mills is going to start, then I don't know what that's being based on. So I don't know. I think you can find any opinion when it comes to sports and teams. Uh, but I don't know. Like maybe some people just don't want that to happen. See a couple of y'all asking about the Johnny Football Netflix. Man, it's 4 seconds. But it was on the trailer. But yeah, it was really random for sure. But I've had a lot of people ask me about that. Birdie says that Mills has swag. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know about that. So I saw a stat from Warren Sharp, and I think Warren Sharp is one of the best like football statistician type of guy. I think that this is interesting, and I think it kind of tells you what your eyes are saying and what your eyes kind of saw in the New England game. So Warren Sharp put up the percentage of pressure that all quarterbacks with 5+ pass attempts faced in preseason week 1. Now, the problem was that CJ only attempted 4 passes. He was sacked once, rolled out and ran once, and then actually rolled out and ran a couple times. But on CJ Stroud's 7 dropbacks, he was pressured 5 times, which is 71%. Davis Mills was pressured in way more dropbacks, just 8% of the time. So for whatever reason, Gerard Mayo, Bill Belichick, maybe it's that they want their first team defense to get a little bit more reps. Hell, maybe they talked to the Texans staff before because the Texans have been blitzing the hell out of CJ Stroud in practice as well. Maybe they talked and decided that, the Texans wanted that, but CJ was blitzed 5 out of 7 times, and Davis Mills in his dropbacks was only pressured 8% of the time. And that's according to Warren Sharp. So do with that what you will. I'm not telling you to like come up with any like hot take on it or anything like that. I'm not saying that it means anything because, again, CJ's getting the first team rep, so who really cares? But 71% to 8% when it comes to the amount of pressure. And CJ's going to face pressure maybe more than that when it happens. So we'll see how that goes. Birdie says Stroud can't read a blitz like Watson. You thought Watson could read blitzes? I don't know about that, sir. He was good at getting away from them. But he held on to the pill for a long time. I don't know that Deshaun was good at reading blitzes at all. Or else he probably would have gotten rid of the ball a little bit quicker. He's good at creating magic. But yeah. Knowledge hoarder, bro, let's not hate on anyone on the team. If Mills is ready to start week 1, Stroud needs time. I don't know if that's like a comment thing. I don't know who's hating on anyone. I don't know what that even means, sir. But yeah, that seems cool. If Mills is ready to start week 1, Stroud needs time. Again, he's not getting any first team reps. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna and then we got this from Knowledge Hoarder. Money Mills gets a first shot with O-line. All right, you're in timeout, sir. We're gonna put knowledge. We're gonna go put your nose in the corner, Knowledge Hoarder. Did you not hear me just say that he's not getting any stuff with the ones? Money Mills. We gotta change that nickname. That's ridiculous. Put you in timeout. Lucky Redfish asks, why did we sign Perry? You're talking about EJ Perry, the quarterback. DeMeco Ryans actually answered that question. He was asked about it. Let's see if I can find this. I think it was at the front of his press conference.
Personal play within our scheme. I've seen him do a really nice job of playing up front and the way we like it played. To add someone who had some experience in our system, and Ridgeway has done a really nice job all throughout camp, not only attacking like we asked the end of those guys, and it was really him to perform.
What besides the effort?
To play really line, and our linebackers defense is everybody playing together, playing with square pass. with Patterson.
Now we're talking about Patterson. And we had Ridgeway and Patterson questions start off DeMeco Ryans. Like, where did that this is what confuses me. So you have Brooks Kabini, you have DJ Bieniemy, you have Jonathan Alexander. This is just a rant only I'm gonna go on. So those guys are writing stories and stuff, and they're figuring stuff out and writing stuff. Like these, like when you're asking about Hassan Ridgeway and you're asking about Patterson, tell me where this is going. Like, you're not going to use it on a radio show. Like, show me where the Jared Patterson, Hassan Ridgeway articles are that are being written.
Transition of trying to improve every time a guy misses back going. So.
Okay. So he got asked about EJ Perry. Who cares? But yeah, he basically just said that he's a camp arm. And he's a guy who might play preseason game 3, and we'll see something. Here are the moves that the Texans made. They added QB EJ Perry and wide receiver Adam Humphries. Humphries actually made a pretty good play today from Davis Mills. It was kind of like a little slot, like flag route type of joint. Took it for about 30 yards. They released Kendall Sheffield. He was never really consistent. Never really felt like he had a chance. And then they released Xavier Valladay, who a lot of people were kind of excited in the offseason. He had some success at Arizona State. But there was nothing that stuck out about him like this entire camp. There was never any, oh, who is that? There was never any thought that this guy was better than Boone. I said it after the New England thing, and that was one of my big takeaways, that it just kind of felt like the running back position was straight, and you were good on that, and that's kind of what it felt like with the with Valladay. It didn't seem like he could really play. So I don't know. But yeah, and that's the other thing. There is a chance that sometimes you just cut people to do them a favor. Maybe he can go figure something out. And we'll see what goes on with that. Yes, they signed Victor Bolden. I'm not sure what he's going to do. I mean, they have a lot of receivers. I'm anticipating that preseason game 3 is just going to be all these guys that they signed. And they feel good about their receivers right now. So maybe you see all those guys sitting out in preseason game 3. And that's what happens where we see, the Steven Sims, the Humphreys, Bachman, Jalen only camp. Like, you probably see those guys in the preseason. But yeah, I don't really anticipate that. I think we see EJ Perry in preseason game 3, but other than that, like, EJ Perry doesn't mean anything. They know who their 3 quarterbacks are, and that's really just that. They just got someone who can give the other guys some rest, pretty much. That's where they're at. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans digital content. Let's hear from Bobby Slowik.
Given and kind of how the guys played around him in certain situations, I think he did as good as he could. But
this is him talking about C.J. Stroud. He loves him some C.J. Stroud. Here's Bobby Slowik.
There's some other stuff that are great learning opportunities, which is really what preseason's about. And one thing about CJ that's been awesome is from day 1 camp to day 2 to day 3 to day 4, he's kept going up. And we hope to see that again in preseason game 2.
That was your first time seeing him in game action in his Texas uniform. How do you think he responded? How did you like what you responded after the reception, both physically and
Yeah, he was awesome. His game mentality is phenomenal.
Yes.
He's a competitor. He
talk
knew
about
the plan
PJ.
we had for him going into it, and he didn't want to come out. He was begging for another series, which I understand, and that's what you want. You want someone that's really hungry, that wants to play. But he knew exactly what happened when he came off the field. He saw it, which is pretty good for a rookie quarterback. And he knew exactly what he had to do to fix it. And he was ready to go. I couldn't ask for anything other than that.
Now, this is my question. I asked him about Mike McDaniel because we know Mike McDaniel, blowing clouds, smoking vapes, funny dude, recovering alcoholic. I think he still likes to smoke that dodo. But when you hear him actually talk ball, my man sounds just like Mike McDaniel. And I asked Slowik about that, kind of had a little funny moment with him because I probably used a word that he knows, but he didn't want to admit.
Daniel's coming in town this week. The more I listen to y'all kind of sound alike. Not as hokey, but when you actually get into like all that, it seems like y'all have the same philosophy. What was y'all's dynamic like, and what did Mike mean to you? Don't tell Mike I said that. Don't tell him I told him he was hokey. You didn't hear that from me. Yeah. No, I mean, me and Mike worked really closely together in 2019, 2020, 2021. We had a really close relationship. Honestly, I mean, we did a lot of things coordinators had to do to help Kyle because he had head coach responsibilities. So me and him working hand in hand in the run game and in the pass game, you know, when you go through stuff like that and season has ups and downs, you get really close to somebody. So we've often talked football, life, all kinds of things. We see football through a very similar lens a lot of times. He's an extremely bright, creative individual. I mean, really, really smart, sees things that not everyone else can kind of see. And it was awesome for me to be around him and kind of soak some of that stuff in.
Back to CJ, and we'll get back to
I think there's a lot. You know, I think, as always, you guys have heard me talk about this before. The number one thing for a young quarterback in the NFL is just learning how to navigate the pocket. On game day, there's always going to be messy pockets. Stuff always collapses pretty fast, and how you react to that, whether it's escaping, whether it's, you know, hitching to buy yourself time. He got some reps at that in this game, and we got to do better up front. We know that. We talked about it in the offensive meeting today. They know we got to be better around CJ. We got to be better around Davis. We got to be better around Case. But really, the building blocks of what we want to do in the pass game are all there. Now, what he excelled at, again, which is rare for a rookie, is he came out and all the stuff that was under his control pre-snap, he knocked out of the park. He was great on the operation. He was great on the play calls.
He loves him, doesn't he?
He used the canes. We
he
changed
loves
it up.
Him.
I don't think we had one misalignment pre-snap with him in the game for the first time, which, I mean, that's good for a rookie. That's what you want to see.
What was your evaluation of Tank and also of Juice in their first games?
I would say all
right, we have Birdie talking about footwork. Why don't they ask about Slowik? Birdie, you're in timeout, man. That's a nose in the corner. Unless you can break down that footwork for me, yeah, you're crazy. Knowledge hoarders back. So opinions that differ from yours get you timed out of Landry's channel. Your biased content trying to sell us a rookie QB who's not ready and dismissing every other in the rooms is hard work and naive. Here's the thing. I wasn't even a CJ Stroud guy. Like, I was a Bryce Young guy. So there's nothing biased about it. You just seem like you're kind of trolling with the Davis Mills stuff. Like, that's it. It's not about that. It's about who's getting the first team reps. That's what the reality is. I don't know what CJ Stroud's going to be. I don't know what Davis Mills can be in a better situation. I have my doubts. I just heard Bobby Slowik talk about CJ Stroud, and he seems to believe in CJ Stroud. I don't know what it can be. I have no idea. I said he could be. I've compared him to like a Cousins, Garoppolo, maybe Dak type of range. So there's nothing biased. Just don't pull stuff out of your ass and say stuff. Matter of fact, let's put you back in timeout. You're good to go there, buddy. Have a good one. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, it's not, you guys know me. I don't, if you think that Davis Mills should start, that's fine. But he's not getting first team reps at the moment. See, maybe CJ Stroud comes out and struggles and then they go to Mills. Who knows? But at this point, we've got to talk about what is actually going on, and figure that out. By the way, whenever you come through, just be sure to like before or after. It's it kind of helps me out a little bit, and I appreciate y'all for coming through. But no, there's no biased content. I don't have any biased content. I don't give a damn about if CJ Stroud starts or not. It's more so just about what's happening, and he's getting the first team reps. It's pretty simple. What's going on there? So yeah, y'all know about the nose in the corner. No doubt. Clarence talking about that. Let's put him in timeout too. I'm just in a timeout mood today. What else talk about? I am intrigued to see what this practice looks like, because I think this practice is going to be a little bit more laid out and a little bit more competitive because the coaches know each other. And I think that's a big thing when it comes to joint practices. Is Mike McDaniel worked with DeMeco Ryans. He worked with Bobby Slowik for how many other years? So I think that those guys have a type of relationship where they're gonna tell each other what they need to work on. And I think Mike McDaniel wants DeMeco to succeed, and DeMeco wants Mike to succeed. And they're not really a threat to each other. Like let's say they were in the same division, probably wouldn't be as much friendliness, but they're not really going to cross paths. So I think Mike finds himself rooting for DeMeco. He's always said really great things about DeMeco, and I think they're actually going to talk to each other. Someone asked, was Mike McDaniel really a recovering alcoholic? He is. So the story is that he was actually on Kubiak's staff with Shanahan, and that was when he was kind of in a bad phase. He actually I think they actually had to fire him because he overslept, and he latched back on. He went back with Kyle Shanahan. He was actually with him longer than anything. And in Atlanta, when Kyle was the OC, the story is that Dan Quinn kind of had an intervention with Mike McDaniel, and he was always like a functioning alcoholic. So he was one of those guys who could just, drink, and then he would go to work and get the job done. But the story is that Dan Quinn, now the Cowboys DC, had an intervention with him. And that's when Mike went and got some help, ended up going to San Francisco and working with Kyle, and the rest is history. Now he's the Dolphins head coach. Forever Royal says he wishes Ramsey wasn't hurt. Me too. I thought that would have been some nice matchups. I do know that Ramsey and CJ they're both Mulligata guys, so I'm sure that they'll probably spend some time together. But yeah, it would be nice to see Jalen Ramsey on the field. Anthony B says Davis Mills is an energy vampire. Nah, he's not. Davis Mills is a hardworking guy. He's a very good backup. Maybe he might be someone that you need to win some games, and he's had a really, really good camp. So we'll see how that goes. Well, they have the number one O-line guys out there on Saturday. I would hope that they would get them some work. I anticipate that. I will say George Fant looked really good at right tackle today. He's probably going to be your starting right tackle if Titus Howard doesn't go. Now, Titus Howard was on the side, and he was running pretty hard. He's just got the cast on, but Titus was getting the sweat on. I mean, he was running full-out sprints on the side. So the timetable lines up to where the minimal amount of time missed that they put on there could be a return, or I guess it's technically a return, but being ready for the start of the season. So we'll see. Devin, what are you looking forward to seeing at these joint practices? I want to see how CJ reads these coverages. I mean, you always want to see how he reads coverages. Now, the Texans are blitzing him a lot. But yeah, you want to see how he reads the coverages. You kind of want to see how this offense looks against the Miami defense. Because Miami, they got an underrated defense. We know about their offense, but they got an underrated defense. You also want to see Tyreek Hill's going to be competitive as hell, and so is Waddle. So kind of see how they figure that out. I love how some fans are basically saw 2 series in the first preseason game and are already giving up on CJ and the Texans. I don't who's doing that. Like, is there really a lot of people really doing that? I don't think that's a ton of stuff, a ton of people. Mills had his shot last year. I think he has started potential in this league. Like, see if he continues to get better, and he has gotten better. I mean, that's the thing. He's done a good job. I like Davis fine. Have always been fine talking to him. I don't know what CJ's going to be. I just know that he's getting the first team reps, and it seems like, I mean, listen, you just heard Bobby Slowik talk about him. You tell me if he likes him. Joe says McDaniels likes them vitamins. That interview with McAfee is hilarious. Yeah, you're talking about McDaniel. Yeah, he's hilarious. Silas is the Bernie burner account. Okay. What do you think about Tegan Quitoriano? I feel like he's chomping at the bit to shine. He had a drop pass. It might have been a fumble today. He's kind of finding his groove. I was pleasantly surprised with a couple of things from him last year. Number one, how he was out and was immediately ready to contribute. Number two, how much better of a receiver he seems to be than previously advertised. He was kind of blocking was kind of his thing. He still takes a lot of pride in it. I think Quitoriano is a really good number 2 tight end. I actually think Beck's a good 3rd tight end. He had a touchdown today that ended practice. He's also your fullback. Some people are concerned about the tight end position. I'm not as concerned. I do wonder what happens with Brevin Jordan, if he's even going to play a preseason game this year, and if he doesn't, does he end up, sneaking his way onto practice squad or something like that? I have no idea what's going on with that. Yeah, Titus obviously is going to have to get the cast off before he figures that out. What is Pep Hamilton doing right now? He's on NFL Network. Pep Hamilton is an analyst on NFL Network. I've always enjoyed Pep Hamilton. Not the best offensive coordinator. You kind of understand now why it was so long for him between that. But he's an analyst on NFL Network. Haven't gotten to see his work. He was on the TV screen, but it was during the show and the sound was off. So who knows how he's going to handle that out. Yeah, 300 peeps on a Sunday. Yeah, it's all good. Be sure to like this. Just do me a little favor. Be sure to like it. I feel like I'm begging for likes. I'm not going to talk like algorithms and all that crap, but just be sure to like it before you leave. Go back, and we'll keep it going. How did Tank handle the physical practice today? Very well. Got lit up by Jimmy Ward. And then he was working with the 1s and the 2s. He had a little sideline tap that probably would have been a highlight. It was clearly a catch. He had a couple of catches over the middle, but Tank Dell handled it well. Actually went to the podium today and talked to the media. Man, you realize how young some of these young men are when they go out there. Tank Dell looks like he's freaking about to get his driver's license. But yeah, he handled it fine. He did his thing. Was he working with the 1s or 2s? He was working with both. They use him all over the place. So, sometimes he lines up in the slot with Mills. Sometimes he lines up on the outside with CJ. He does his thing. Someone's asking who is 76. Man, you can Google that. Come on, man. It's Austin Deculus, though, if you want to know. But yeah, he's not good. He's rough. Does Humphreys have a chance to make the team? No. I mean, who would you leave out? You're not cutting Tank. You're not cutting Mechie. I don't think you're going to get rid of Noah Brown. Nico's not going anywhere. Woods isn't going anywhere. And I don't think you get rid of Hutchinson. So I don't think so. I think he's just kind of a camp body. And they figure that out. Hutch is doing okay. Kind of quieted down a little bit. But Hutch is doing all right at this point. Nothing like overly fantastic, but he's fine. We haven't heard much from Caserio. How is he doing? Is Nick still on headset during a game? I don't know if they're going to have him on headset or not. I mean, Tom Brady and Belichick wanted him on the headset. It's not like he was just foaming at the mouth to get on the headset. This is kind of a new system for him. I don't know if he gets on it or not. Matthew, surprised they cut Valladay so quick. I'm not. He really didn't show anything. It wasn't anything that really stuck out. And usually when you see running backs that end up making, the squad, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to do something that kind of sticks out. And on this team, when you're the clear fourth best, probably in his best interest to move on, because assuming that Boone is number 3 and Boone is number 3, you have Dare who plays special teams. I don't think Valladay does that. So yeah. What do we do with Kenyon Green? We start him at guard. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do we do? He starts at guard. And then we see what goes on there. Tank talked about blocking during the press conference. Does he hold his own when he is run blocking? I'll be honest. I could lie to you and say, sure. I haven't heard them complain about it. They seem to think that he's a good, complete receiver, but I don't know how much he's blocking, how well he's blocking. I know today he said that, he wasn't really asked to do that at Houston because you know how they run him behind tune and you can kind of pitch it or whatever, or they would throw it sideways and then you could pitch it to him like the option type of thing that Holgerson runs. But yeah, I don't know how good he's doing on the whole thing. John Mechie needs more targets. I mean, I don't know. Like, you're basing that on the preseason game. He had the chain moving catch. I don't know. I don't know how this target share is going to work. I don't see anything like that. I mean, on targets, I don't know about that. How professional the team looked, no penalties. Yeah, I mean, they looked pretty disciplined. I think the way that they recognized the screen was encouraging as well. Alex wants to know, if you're going to the Dolphins practice, what time should you arrive at NRG for me and the wife? Man, I'll be honest. So I've been out there at all the fan practices, and I've talked to some guys who get there at 5. I've talked to some guys who get there at like right at 8 and find a seat. So I don't know. I mean, they've all been full. Even today was full. They're not like overcrowding it too much. But I do anticipate that there's probably going to be some pretty decent excitement and demand for, a joint practice with the Dolphins. So I don't want to tell you a time. I have no idea. 5 seems a little dramatic for me. But I don't know. I do know that, like, the line, I don't think it's like a depressing line. You know how sometimes you sit in the line, it's like depressing. Like, for me, like a good line, and I don't know if very many of y'all can relate to this. This is very millennial of me. Remember when GameStop, some of y'all don't even know what the hell that is. Y'all just download your video games, you spoiled brats. But GameStop, back when they used to like drop Madden at midnight or something like that, or they drop NCAA at midnight, and you just wait in that line, you'd show up at like 11 and you just be talking to a bunch of people that are excited about the game. That's a fun line for me. If you do go wait in this line, you're going to be talking to other Texans fans that are pumped, and they're going to be like diehards that, are excited about something. And if you've covered this dog-butted football team, and this channel's been on for 11 months and been on the air for a long time here on the radio, the last couple of years have sucked to where you're not really around a bunch of like Texans fans that are actually excited and furthermore have an opportunity to be excited. So that actually seems like a fun line for me. So I would get there like 7. That would be me. 5 seems a little bit crazy, but I think 7 would be cool. Although shout out to my guy who was there at 5. I think he's a frequent subscriber to the channel. Shout out to my dude out there. But yeah, I would say probably 7. What do I make of the recent signings? Nothing really. EJ Perry is just a scout teamer. Adam Humphries, I mean, come on. Like, we've seen Adam Humphries in multiple situations, just kind of a dude. Although he made a play today. I don't know if he's as good as Bachman. And then, I don't think any of these receivers are going to be real threats to make the squad. Heard your Tank comparison, Tyler Lockett. Who's your CJ comp? I think CJ is like in the Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff type of tier where you can perform very highly with him. And if you put him in the right situation, he can win. That would be my thing. All 4 quarterbacks had subpar performances. Yeah, although I think Anthony Richardson's interception was kind of something that I just don't know how you justify. But yeah, no one was great. Tank was with both the 1s and the 2s. I think I already answered that. The deep ball from Noah to CJ was nice. Yeah, it was very nice, and Noah got up pretty quickly. I think that he might have been able to get up there. You don't have to go through a line. I don't. I do not have to go through a line. But if I did, it would be a fun one. And then shout out to all the people that know about the damn the lines. Everybody knows what GameStop is. Their stock goes burr. See, I don't know what that means, but I encourage the GameStop. I thought people could just download games now. I'm not really in that business. Bachman on practice squad for sure, unless he gets picked up, which I don't know. Tank is more of Stephon Diggs type to me. What do you think? Nah, I don't think so. I think he's Tyler Lockett. I think there's a lot of similarities, the measurables, the way he plays. Diggs, I know Diggs is smaller than we think, but like Diggs plays big. Diggs plays like really big, and Diggs is kind of like you can almost like throw jump balls to him. I don't think they play alike. It's not a knock on Tank. I don't see that. That is like the 20th comparison I've heard though. Did Nico have any catches today? He had a couple. Nico, I don't know if Nico was hurt. I don't know if Nico was kind of overheated, but Nico was kind of on and off the field today. At one point, he was the first one in the cool tent, and at another point, it was like, "Hey, is Nico okay? What is Nico doing?" And he was like kind of on the side. So yeah, I don't know what was going on with Nico. Do you think CJ struggles with wet conditions? Slowik brought up the sweaty hands in training camp, and it was rainy in Foxborough. I don't know. I mean, he played in the Big Ten. I'm imagining that there was some bad weather. I don't have like the splits on, when he plays well and when he doesn't. But yeah, someone says Devontae Smith is a good comp for Dell. See, there's another one that we got. There's another one. Around the division, as far as week 1 takeaways, it does feel like no one really like was overly pleased with their performance. Although the Jags had, they had some highs and lows. They played the Cowboys. They probably looked. I mean, they looked all right. The Texans, I don't really know that there was anything that you can really judge there. Back to the day today, though. I saw that I think Cole Thompson said it, and I think DJ said it, that Davis looked better. And someone asked me to specify what that meant. CJ missed a couple of like short throws. Like I think he missed an out to Singletary. He threw one across the middle that Petrie probably could have taken the receiver's head off. And he missed another one, but there weren't like any major mistakes. Davis, he was going against the second team defense, but Davis had the throw to Humphreys. He had the sideline to Tank. He didn't have as many misses. And he also had, and I think y'all have probably seen this if you watch Davis by now, when he just sails it really badly, usually across the middle over the receiver's head, and it either gets intercepted or it's incomplete. He did that early in camp. I want to say it was practice number 2, and Tank Dell actually made a sliding catch on it when it clearly wasn't intended for him. Today that happened again. He sailed it over a guy's head, and it landed in the hands of a receiver. I'm not sure who, but it seems like probably 80% of the time that would have gotten intercepted. But I guess if you want to just like base it on like misses and all that type of stuff, you can. But it wasn't like something that was just like massive outplay CJ Stroud type of thing. I didn't see that. Black Eighth Element says Richardson didn't play that bad. Damn, I shout out to your Braille keyboard because I don't know what you were watching there. That interception right there is enough to have played bad. I don't think CJ played good either. But yeah, if that's not too bad to you, then it's a good crowd right there. Deuce Vaughn, yeah, I wanted the Texans to take Deuce Vaughn. I thought Deuce Vaughn would have been perfect number 3 running back. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to regret that. Dude, that was not a dime. God, oh my gosh. The Anthony Richardson throw was not a dime. The guy was covered, and it got broken up by a guy that was covered. Like, and it was right there on the sideline. There's not like there's nowhere you could throw that ball right there. The receiver was covered. I kept seeing people on the internet say that was a dime. That wasn't a dime. That wasn't even a penny. That was like literally like it was right there on the corner where the receiver had nowhere to run, and the DB was right there, and it came to where it couldn't have been caught. That was a penny at best. Gosh, I saw that on the internet. It's like, man, Richardson, that should have been caught. Caught by who? Only if Casper the Ghost was covering him. Even then, the dude's right there on the corner. We got to quit lowering the standard for AR-15. We can dissect the CJ Stroud performance. That was not a dime. Goodness gracious. He's got a gun. There's no doubt he's got a gun. That was not a dime. For sure was not a dime. He didn't drop any ball. DB was right there. Goodness gracious. Anthony Richardson. A lot of y'all are playing with the Madden franchise mode, I see. Throw power, speed, all that. That was a penny. Driving me crazy with this. I don't even know if it was a good play. He was just right there. Right there on the corner. The Richardson. We'll see what he's got. He's got a nice squad around him. I would like to see maybe him get Jonathan Taylor and see how that goes. See how it works. But yeah, like I heard that and it was like you would have thought that the receiver just like had like Will Fuller drop. And it was like, okay. Like, are we saying if the defender weren't there, it would have been a dime or what? Someone says Madden 24 drops this week. I don't play that crap anymore, man. I'm not a fan of that. You kids now that play Madden, you are using like running backs to throw the ball. It's embarrassing. Those are dimes. I've seen like Nick Chubb throwing like dimes. It's rough. CJ actually had a window on his INT just saying like, yeah, it was a bad decision. It was a bad read. Double pumped. He had Deculus backing up. Should have checked down. Wasn't good. Yeah, of course there's overreaction for the for preseason. Like I'm not saying Richardson stinks because of that. I've never been that high on Richardson at all. But yeah, there's always overreaction on preseason. That's the beauty of it. That's why football is king, no doubt. Will AR do RPOs and QB draws? The media will go crazy. That interception he threw was an RPO. The hell do you think that was? That was an RPO. That's what he did. That was awful. I don't know if he wants QB draws either. I think he's got durability issues. That's a lot of man right there running across the middle. That's a big target for guys to hit. Yeah, that's what that was. That was an RPO on that pick. Outside of Tunsil, who do you think our best player can be this season? I think Will Anderson. If I had to guess, I would say Will Anderson is the best player. I think he's gonna make a pretty decent impact. And I think he's got enough around him to where he does his thing. So that would be my answer. Tunsil, Will. Those would be my goes. Did we do better to get Bryce or CJ? I was a Bryce guy. Still a Bryce guy. I like Bryce. So that's just me. What about a comp of Cole Beasley to Tank? Look, Cole Beasley can do that work. I know he was an all-pro, 2020 in that slot. Tank can do a lot more, man. I think Beasley's just 100% strictly a slot guy, and he had a good run. He was good. He had a good run with the Cowboys. He had a good run with Buffalo. I don't think Tank is strictly a slot guy. I think he can do work in the slot. I think he can do some damage in the slot, but I think you can line up Tank outside. I think you can line him up inside. I think you can stack him. I think you can run sweeps with him. I think you can punt return. Yeah, I don't see that one at all. I think he's got much more upside than Beasley, but he can do some work in the slot. When's my fantasy draft? It's 2 weeks. So our fantasy draft is we don't know what pick we have till we're picking. And this has been our tradition for 13 years that we've had this league is so you take everyone's name, you put it in a hat or whatever, and then when pick one comes up, you draw it. Johnny come up, he picks, and then when Johnny picks, he picks a name, and then Timothy will come up and pick, and then Timothy will pick out of the hat, and it'll say Landry. So that way you don't have like a set strategy. You actually have to have like some on-the-go skills. So that's how we've always done it. You don't know when the hell you're going to pick. It's a stick-to-pick type of thing. And you go up there and pick so that you don't know who it is. Strong recommendation. By the way, subscribe, like, right along. I've said this 100 times. Please, please, please like the video. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Glenn asks, before we maybe head out of here, am I drafting any Texans? I think I'm going to stay away from Pierce because I think that he's going to go too early. And in our league, we actually have a strategy where you can start one running back if you want. We did that because the running back market was so trash. So you can start two flexes. So there's like a lot of strategy in it. I think I'm going to stay away from Pierce. If there's value with Singletary, I might consider taking him. Woods, maybe in the late rounds, but he's one of those guys you draft and you think you might be cutting in a few weeks, just depending on how it goes. And I think Tank Dell is probably worth swinging for the fences at in the 10th. And then Schultz, depending on when the wide receiver run goes, I would say he's top 10-ish tight end. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, right along. Got a video coming out tomorrow at noon. All love to everyone, even the people I put in timeout. All love to AR-15. All love to anyone else who was criticizing the time here. Please don't forget to go ahead and like the video. I appreciate all y'all for coming through. Don't forget, if you're at the practice this week, come through, say what's up. Always come through here in the loop tomorrow, 10 to 2, Sports Radio 610 in the Odyssey app. And no matter what happens with the Texans, when it comes to this game, we're all in it together. Thanks for coming through.
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.